Hello and welcome to The Fostered. I am your host, Angel Foster, and I am so excited to have you here today. Today is a solo episode. Y'all know how much I love these solos because it's just you and I. We get to connect, and we have quite a bit to connect on. I think I'm going to save the life updates for the end of this episode. So for the people who came for the meat and potatoes, the title of today's episode, which is all about routines, how to build them, how to stick to them. I'm going to get that part of the episode out first, and then we'll get into the real tea of what has been going on. I'll give you a little taste of it right now, though. So 2 weeks ago, I was laid off my job of 2 years, and how I actually came for the topic of today's podcast is because my routines were the things that literally held me together while my world was literally falling apart all around me. I'm holding my mic like this because I saw Renee Rapp do it on a podcast she was on. And so I was like, you know what? I want to hold my mic too. Anyway, I feel like sticking to my routines really kept me in a productive headspace, kept me in a positive mindset, and allowed me to get shit done, because when you get laid off, you're either going to sink or swim. And I did not plan on sinking. And so that is why I go so hard for routines. I also put so much time and effort into really building my routines. And so I didn't want to let a measly little layoff throw all of that progress, that hard work off. And so now we're going to get into how you can build a routine that works for you and one you can actually stick to. So when I hear people talk about routines, I feel like it's just do these things and you will live this amazing life. But I think for a lot of people, they don't stick to those routines because they don't really work for them in their own life. Ideally, your routines should support the goals that you have for yourself. It shouldn't just be something that you heard on a podcast and now you're incorporating it into your routine. Before you add something to your routines, the first question you should ask is, does this support my goals? Because routines are the backbones of our goals. Routines are how we get our goals accomplished. And so the way I like to think about this is, you take your goal, then you figure out what are the supporting actions for said goal. From there, you take those supporting actions and figure out where you can infuse them into your daily routines. And so for me, that looks like, so y'all pray for me, but I am training for a half marathon. Right now, the one I'm training for is in May, but I need to shave 4 minutes off my mile pace. That is my goal. Shave 4 minutes off my mile pace so I can compete in the Bay Bridge half marathon in May. My supporting actions look like following my half marathon training plan, which has me running 4 times a week. So my daily routine would look like me waking up 5 a.m. Actually, before we even get to that, the night before, make sure I go to bed in a reasonable time so I get enough sleep, have my clothes already laid out to make the decision so easy, wake up 5 a.m., start running by 5:30. That's what the end of my night routine and the beginning of my morning routine should look like, because that supports my goal. If you have a goal of being a monetized YouTuber, for example, your supporting actions would look like needing to post 2 times a week and 5 times on shorts. And so your routine for this goal, it may vary day to day. Like one day may be including filming, the next day may include editing. And that may mean if you have a full-time job, filming your videos might be the thing you do before work and then immediately do work. And then maybe you work out in the evening. It's just figuring out the things that work best for you, that's best aligned for you. And that's going to look different person to person. We all shouldn't have this mirrored morning routine. All of our routines should not look the same because all of our goals are so different. And if you look at your routines now and they're not supportive of your goals, there's a serious shift that needs to be made. If you have a goal saying that you want to wake up earlier, say 5 a.m., you want to be waking up every morning 5 a.m., that's going to start with your nighttime routine, meaning you need to be in bed at least by 9:30. Hopefully, if you want to get enough hours of sleep. For me, when I wanted to start waking up earlier, I immediately focused on getting to bed on time because it just makes waking up earlier so much more easier. Also, something I did to support this is if you have an iPhone, you should have something called Sleep. It should be in your health app. It'll tell you, you can set up your sleep schedule and it'll give you notifications of when you should go to bed to be able to hit that time. I also have an Oura Ring. My Oura Ring tracks my sleep, and it actually has been so helpful because I've had it since September, and so I just got my quarterly stats today, and it was saying that I need to be consistent with my sleep and wake times because Monday through Thursday I do very good with getting to bed on time, waking up early, but it was saying over the weekends is when I typically fall off, and it's okay to do that here and there, but you really want to be consistent with that. So any tools that you can have to support you along your journey of building your routines and sticking to them, that is going to be so necessary. I personally struggled for a while, like almost 2-ish years, to really find a routine that worked for me, because I was listening to the advice of so many influencers and just looking at their glamorized morning routines that likely were probably a lie. And I was trying to fit everything that they were doing into my morning routines. And this is where things get a little different, because I actually did have goals to do some of these things like meditation or getting my protein in. But the way that they were going about it and the way that I could go about it was completely different. So a lot of the people I would follow, they would say, meditate first thing when you wake up. For me, if I meditate first thing in the morning, I'm going back to bed. I am tired, okay? Meditation puts me to sleep, and it was just something I couldn't be consistent with in the morning. But something that works better for me is meditating, praying at night. It puts me in a better headspace. It helps me unwind. And so for me, meditation works better at night. Me, I am a morning workout girly. Working out is the first thing I do in the morning, and because it really just sets my day on a nice tone. Also, I just know myself. I'm not going to work out if I don't do it in the morning. That is likely the only time I'm going to get it done. And something that really helped me get my morning workouts in is booking a class. Having to pay for something if you don't make it there, I don't know. It just didn't sit right in my spirit. And so that has been the thing that really got me up. And now that I'm doing this half marathon training, that is also what is getting me up. Something else, this morning I went for a morning run and it was raining, but I did it with a friend, and I'm also now joining this running group. And so the community aspect is keeping me consistent with my running. And so now it's becoming a part of my weekly routine, which is really exciting, because I've been trying to be a runner for so long. And now I feel like it's actually something that may be possible for me, because I'm creating all these systems of support to kind of make it impossible to fail. Another thing I saw a lot of influencers say they were doing is getting 30 grams of protein in immediately when they wake up. For me, that is just not my vibe. Like, I'm not going to eat first thing when I wake up. Personally, I'm not hungry when I wake up. And one of my goals for this year is to really listen to my body, really trust my own intuition, and really work on healing my relationship with food. And so if I'm forcing myself to eat first thing in the morning, that's not going to make me feel good. And it's not in alignment with my goal. I do have the goal of eating more protein. It's just shifting that time of day. And so if you're listening to some of these people online and you're like, man, I really do want to incorporate some of these things in my routine, it's just how they're talking about it and how I know I realistically can do it are not aligned. Figure out how it can actually fit into your day. And then once you do that, actually put it on your calendar. So what I've been doing also is scheduling my workouts. My workouts are on my calendar, and that also keeps me accountable. And I track literally everything in Notion, in my Google Calendar. So in Notion, I have my goals written out. I have my supporting actions written out. And for those supporting actions, I distill those into my daily items. That is your routine. And those daily items, that's what you're going to put on your Google Calendar. One, to keep you accountable, but also just so you can remember what you're doing. Because a lot of times I'll forget. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to be doing today? I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to know that it's already been planned out, it's already been mapped out, and that's what's going to keep you consistent. Something that I've recently added to my routine that I have been loving in the morning are my Magic Mind productivity shots. I feel like I've talked about these for the last few episodes on the podcast, but they have just been the best thing. I've been consistent with them all January, and when I say it has just gotten me off to the best start this year, even with the layoff. Honestly, I feel like the shots have helped me through the layoff, helped me stay on my Zoom, helped me stay productive. First of all, so cute. Like, every time I use it, I always post it to my stories because I'm like, it is just so cute. In case you've never heard of them, they are productivity shots. They have matcha, nootropics, adaptogens, all the things to keep you super productive. I'm so excited that Magic Mind decided to partner with me for today's episode, and they have dropped some very great deals. So you can get 1 month free of a 3-month subscription if you head to the link in the show notes. It's www.magicmind.com/JAN Angel, that's with 2 L's, ANGELLFOSTER. with that link, you will get 1 month free off of your 3-month subscription, which is such a great deal. And with my code FOSTERPD20, FOSTERPD20, you'll get an extra 25% off, which means you're getting 75% off. They're only running this deal on my podcast for a little bit longer, so go ahead, hit that link and take advantage of it before it is gone. I have become completely obsessed with them. And I just saw Bria Jones is using them too. And so I'm like, okay, if Bria Jones is also on the Magic Mind, that makes me feel super hyped because I just love everything Bria Jones does. Anyway, my next and last point is you have to anticipate distraction. There is nothing worse than the night before, say it's your Sunday reset, you set out your clothes for tomorrow, your workout clothes, you've written everything in your Google Calendar of what you're going to do, you've gone to bed early, you've taken a nice shower, you're ready and prepped for the next day. And then you wake up, you actually wake up on time, you wake up at 5 a.m. But what do? You get on your phone and you're scrolling TikTok for an hour. And you don't even realize the time has passed. And then you're like, crap, this is not how I meant to spend my morning. Maybe that's never happened to y'all, but that has definitely happened to me more than once. And it is the biggest bummer because you're like, this is not what I planned to do with my morning. And a lot of times why that happened for me is I walk past my phone, I see it, I grab it, I take it with me into the bathroom, and then I'm scrolling. How I stopped this though, I started using my Hatch alarm clock more versus my phone alarm clock. Something that was also catching me up is I use my phone for content. So a lot of times I film in the morning, but if I put my phone on my tripod already positioned for where I need to go versus just leaving it out, for some reason seeing it on the tripod makes me think of it more of a camera versus TikTok to like scroll on. And so I'm like in business mode with it because I've already anticipated the distraction of scrolling on my phone. For you, that may look like, if you say you use your phone as an alarm clock, maybe you get a physical alarm clock. It doesn't have to be the expensive Hatch one. It can literally be any other one. Or say you use your phone as your alarm clock. As soon as you hit your alarm, put your phone in a drawer. So that way you're not even tempted by it. Figuring out ways to anticipate these distractions are going to be the ways you can really stick to your routines. Something you can also do is build in that schedule. Something you can also do is build in that scrolling period or like just, fun time. I think where a lot of people mess up with their routines is they pack their days. Everything is back to back to back to back. And it's like, that's not realistic. You're not going to do that. So maybe just put a few items on. These are my non-negotiables, the things that I have to get done. Make that a part of your routine, and then still add in time for the things you like to do. But it is your job to safeguard your routines. Your time is yours, and if you do not guard it with your life, people will take it from you. That is why I work out in the morning, because I know as soon as my day gets started, my time is going every which way. And I don't want to even introduce the opportunity that I might not be able to do the things that I've committed to. Even this week, so I started teaching 6, 7, and 8 a.m. Legree classes. I knew I wasn't going to be wanting to work out after I finished teaching all those classes. So I woke up at 4 a.m. and did my run before going to go teach my classes. That was my first time doing that. And I think that's going to have to be my new routine if I really want to keep up with these runs. Sometimes that's what it takes for the things that we are really going for the routines that we want to build. Toni Morrison literally used to wake up at 4 a.m. every single morning to write her books before she took her 2 boys to school. She is one of my biggest inspirations. And I think in this generation of soft life, not really wanting to work hard, not really focusing on discipline, that essence of hard work has really been lost. And because of that, our time is spent doing things we don't really feel good doing, we don't really want to do. And so if you have hard goals that you want to achieve this year, guard your time. And if that means you need to wake up early or stay up late. Like me, I am a wake up early kind of girl, get things done. But my boyfriend, he can be very productive at night in a way that I just cannot be. Like I am like sleepy time, reading a book, ready to go to sleep. And that works for him. It doesn't really work for me. I would prefer him to be in the bed, but it works for him. And that is when he's very productive. So I know a lot of people are also productive at night. So just figuring out what works for you, knowing yourself is really key here. But the main thing I'm stressing is just anticipate those distractions and guard your time. All right, those are my main tips for building and sticking to your routines. I hope that helped. Now we're gonna get into the tea a little bit. It's not even tea. I got laid off 2 weeks ago. It was a shocker. Did not see that coming in January. Did not see it coming. My boyfriend also got laid off because we worked at the same place. I do not recommend working at the same place as your partner, because if your job does layoffs, it is a very scary time when you both get laid off. And I worked at a very small company, and so them doing these layoffs like big tech definitely took me by surprise. I did not expect that from this company, because they really made it seem like we were, I hate to say it, but like a little family. And I know that's like like you never should like let jobs say like that they're a family or whatever. But I didn't think that they would do something like that. And this just really reminded me that these jobs do not care about you. And honestly, I needed that reminder, because I think maybe I got a little too comfortable, because I didn't really have a ton of savings, really any savings. And while I had been paying them my credit card debt, I did get a little comfortable. I mean, it was just right after Christmas, so I spent money on Christmas gifts. And that should be a sin in and of itself, to lay somebody off right after Christmas, knowing that people probably like overspent, like just traveled, whatever. I'm not even gonna do it. Anyway, so got laid off, and yeah, it was really scary. I definitely cried that first day. I vlogged about it. If you want to go watch my vlog, I literally vlogged about it in real time. Yeah, it was really, really scary. It was really, really tough. And I'm not acting like I'm like through it, but I'm definitely coming out on the other side of it. I mean, things literally turned around so quickly. Like for one, I just want to say, like, my community, like the friends I've made here, my family, my boyfriend, like everybody has just been so supportive, so kind. And I just feel really blessed to have the people in my life that I have. They just really kept me uplifted in a time that I was feeling really low and really, upset with myself. And so that was great. I immediately messaged my Legree studio that I work at and asked them if I could take on more hours teaching, and they were like, yes. And then they responded also saying, hey, we would love to talk to you about social media, because they were wanting some social media support. And so I was like, okay, cool. Like, we can talk. They wanted to talk next Wednesday. I also did a brand deal in December that I get paid from February 5th, and I get my last check from my job February 1st. I know my bills for the month of February will be covered, which is just such a blessing. And I'm like, did God know I was going to get laid off? Is that why he gave me that brand deal in December, knowing that I would need the money in February? Because if so, like, that is just, I just feel so covered by that. And so then literally that following Wednesday, right after I got laid off, like the very next week, I meet with my Legree studio. They're like, we'll offer you a 2-month retainer to take over our social media. What? That's a blessing. And then a brand that I love reaches out to me with another brand deal. And then someone reached out to me saying they wanted me to do some content audits. And so I was like, what is going on? Like, God is really showing out. And I feel like it was because it's because of so many things, but I feel like I was really able to receive a lot of that, because literally the day after I got laid off, I still went to my workouts. I still stuck to my routine. And I think in times where you are down bad, you need your routines. You need to keep doing the things that make you feel good, that are going to make you feel proud of yourself, so you don't feel shittier than you already feel. And don't get me wrong, I was I was going through it, but the fact that things turned around just so quickly, like, you can't tell me God isn't real. You can't tell me that I'm not protected, and you can't tell me I'm not God's favorite. So, but I feel like there's really something to just staying positive, staying in good spirits, continuing to work out, because normally when I've gone through bad things, I get really depressed and I lay down. But this situation was different because this is my money. And one thing I don't play about is my money. And to have, nothing to fall back on, like I said earlier, is sink or swim. And I refuse to sink. And so, yeah, I mean, it wasn't really tea. It's more so like, I guess I'm trying to encourage you. And if you're like, when I posted that I got laid off, so many people in my comments were like, yep, just got laid off, or I've been laid off for 8 months or whatever. And I'm like, it is crazy out here. And so if you've also gotten laid off, I am so sorry. And I know better is on the way. I know more is coming to you, and I can't wait to see what you do. Or if you've gotten laid off and things have already turned around for you, put in the comments so people can be encouraged, because I want people to know that this is not the end of the world. I need to know that this is not the end of the world. I think being laid off really hurts because you put so much into these jobs. And with my job, I put so much into it. And just the week before, we were talking about our plans for the year and everything we were going to be doing. And so to have the rug pulled out from you under, like, have the rug pulled from under you like that, it really hurts. But just know you are still valuable. Being laid off does not mean you were bad at your job. And that's what I had to keep telling myself too. I'm like, damn, does this mean I was bad at my job? But no, it does not mean that. It just means your job was bad at their job. They didn't know how to keep employees, and that's not your fault. That's not through any fault of your own. And so yeah, I hope that encourages you. I hope that if you came for building routine, you got some valuable help and can introduce some of these things into your life. Thank you so much for listening. If you listened this far, if you would rate and review this podcast, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all the things that help podcasts grow. Share it with a friend. I would really, really appreciate it. I need to remember to say these things at the top of the episode. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye. Twin, where have you been? Nobody knows me like you do. Nobody gonna love me like you do. No. All right, goodbye.